Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Mustard Seed. I'm Andrew.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Josh.
Join us on our journey.
It's Wednesday morning. You know what that means. Back at it.
Yeah.
Feels good. Feels good to be back. I've been gone for 2 weeks. You've been gone. Well, you were here last week. You guys held it down. We appreciate you guys liking, commenting, subscribing. Keep the comments tasteful, please. We appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Keep it under control, all right? Got enough with the toga peas and the...
Yeah, just keep it tasteful.
Still haven't figured that out
But we
yet.
still love you all.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Let me start my dad joke. All right.
Hit it.
Did you know the first French fries weren't made in France?
Where were they made?
In Greece.
Nice. Wait.
And I think that can segue into our new thing, because since we're putting the draft to sleep until football season, we got the food. So this is the most tried food in North America, meaning Canada, Mexico, all up U.S.
The most tried food.
Oh, okay, so tried.
Yeah,
Not
tried
necessarily
most
like-
tried dishes.
Okay.
And two of them, I don't think you'll get. America does dominate a lot.
So these are most tried foods in the North Americans. North Americas.
So we're doing the top
Canada
five.
and Mexico.
And yeah, whatever else is there.
Tried food, that's throwing me for a loop. Like, I don't know
Tried
how I
food.
should think about
Yeah, like
this.
tried dishes.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first one that I thought of, can I guess?
Yeah.
Was poutine from like Canada.
That's a pretty good guess.
Is that Poutin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that is it. That is number that
Josh is killer at this game.
that is number one. And I had to look up what that is. I'll show you, right?
I had poutine.
You have.
Not that great.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
like it's basically a bowl of French fries with gravy.
gravy.
Yeah,
and
we'll
like,
put a picture right here.
Yeah,
and it's
sure.
like
it was something that I was like, I had a bite of it. I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. But to finish the whole thing, it's like it's a lot. But people love it. Like,
yeah,
Canada,
I
it's
had
huge.
no idea what it was.
Yeah.
And I had looked it up and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
poutine. That is so funny. Josh is killing
Number
it.
one, baby.
Number
Here we
one
go.
again. All right, so now we're thinking about most tried foods. I mean, this is a wild guess because this is just something that I feel like is consumed a lot. I'm going to say pizza. No, so it's not. Okay.
You would think that. You would think you come to the U.S. or
Yeah, people
New
are
York
thinking,
and
like-
you try pizza. But no, it wasn't in the top five.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's novelty type.
Yeah, right. Like
dishes.
poutine is putting me in a different
Yeah.
direction here.
Exactly.
I had no idea what poutine was.
Trying to think of something that's a little bit unique, not necessarily getting everywhere.
That would be I would say the Canada ones are the two Canada ones are unique in my opinion, and the rest are pretty much basic U.S. Like
okay,
you
so
would think like, oh, okay,
cheeseburger.
yeah, burger, cheeseburger,
Burger,
That's
okay.
number two.
There we go.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great.
Nice.
What about like barbecue
Yeah,
on the list?
like some like
Barbecue.
wings or
Yeah,
like.
okay, so buffalo chicken wings is
Yeah.
4.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on the right track here. Buffalo
So
chicken.
now you
wing.
need 3 and 5.
One more Canadian dish, huh?
Yeah, that one's hard. I don't think I'm gonna have to tell you guys because I didn't know what it was. And when I first read it, I was like, "Oh, people are doing that." And then I looked at what it is, and it's not what I thought it was.
What does that mean?
Is it like moose jerky?
No,
or-
no.
No.
I'll just tell you in 3. 3 is beaver tail. So when I read that, I was like, beaver tail? People are just killing beavers and
Yeah.
eating their tails? No, it's like it's a bakery. Like it's just a giant flat thing, and they bake it, and they put Nutella and bananas on it, or a
Whoa.
bunch of stuff like that. It's
Wow.
a Canadian dessert.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I would like to try that.
Yeah,
That sounds
it looks
really
good.
Yeah. All right, and then there's one more
one
American
more.
So
dish.
that's the
Oh yeah, I could see because it's flat, kind of like a beaver tail,
yeah. I don't know
with
if
some
you can see.
candies and frostings
Yeah,
on there. That
they
looks
just
really
put,
good.
Yeah, they put a bunch of candies and frosting on it. It's just like a flat
Okay.
bakery.
Never heard that.
One more from the United States of America.
Think southern.
Yeah.
Southern.
Brisket.
No.
Cornbread.
Is it like meat? No.
It's a food, right? We're thinking foods. Southern.
Southern.
I feel like it's one of those things you're gonna say, and we're gonna be like, oh,
Yeah. Like, it's probably not grits, right?
No.
pulled pork. Like I'm thinking
No,
like
it's
for
like-
barbecue, briskets, things like that. No. Southern.
One more guess. each.
Biscuits? Like buttermilk biscuits?
Yes. Okay, there you go. Josh got it. Biscuits and gravy.
Oh, biscuits and gravy.
All right.
Yeah. Those are the top 5. So you got Pouton. What is it?
Yeah, poutine.
Poutine, number 1.
Yep.
Hamburgers, cheeseburger, number 2. Beaver tails, which is number 3.
Dessert.
Buffalo chicken wings, number 4. And biscuits and gravy, number 5.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
So
there we go.
that is it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Interesting.
That-
The beaver tail thing though, it really threw me through a loop. I was like really like
Yeah,
just
we would have
killing
been here
beavers
all
up
day.
there.
They're like endangered in Canada because the people are just hunting them down for their tails,
Yeah, jeez.
munching on beaver tail.
Tastes like chicken.
That's
Yeah,
what everyone says about everything, right?
yeah, we would have been here all day guessing that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Burger.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
fun.
So today, I wanted to go over. So remember, a while ago, Josh said like a word of, not the word of the day, but the word of like
The year?
the year. And mine, I was thinking about a lot is going to be insecurity, and I think that is like a really good thing to go over and talk about because there's so many people have that so much in their life. And like as I was preparing and thinking about this, I was thinking of like an image of people, right? So this is what I was thinking about. I was thinking about a couple that's walking and they're with a horse or whatever. They're walking and they're walking beside it. Then 2 people walk past them and the man hears them go, "Oh, what are they, idiots? They don't know how to ride it?" He jumps on it because he's insecure, like, "Oh no," jumps on it. Then the wife's walking beside, and then the next people walk by, and then they go. She hears him say, "Oh, what a chauvinist! Like he won't let her on." And then she jumps on, and then they are going again. Then they hear the next people walk by say like, "Oh, that poor animal! What jerks! They're letting them ride. They're riding the donkey." And then it goes forward and forward and forward, and you're never gonna please people. Like if you're there trying to please people, that's the picture I'm trying to show you. Like someone's always going to have a problem, and you need to check that at the door, and you need to just be there for yourself, be there for what God put you there to do, and not worry about what other people are always going to have something to say. And that is one human flaw that I feel like so many people have.
It's hard not to like
Yeah.
think about what other people are thinking all the time for sure, but that can lead down a dangerous road if you're trying to constantly please for sure.
Exactly. Because then you're kind of living for others as opposed to like who you genuinely are supposed to be. But yeah, like we have this kind of this desire for that communal aspect in the community. We want to develop friendships and relationships. It's within our very nature as created in the image of God. And so because of that, like it's hard when we get kind of judged by other people, and then we, especially when it hits us in places where we are insecure, it can be pretty difficult to deal with and to get through.
Yeah. I actually, I'm not preparing, Josh. I emailed you a prayer it's sent to you as I walked in here today.
Nice.
So
All
it's
over.
Insecurity prayer.
I was gonna ask, what's the solution for something like that? Because I think it's something. No, I think you can deal with it at all ages. Because I was gonna say,
Oh yeah, you can deal with it like at 3. I can see like Logan even feeling a certain way sometimes.
Sure, yeah,
It's all ages.
definitely.
Oh yeah, it's part of the Serenity Prayer. It's great. Do you want me to read it? So it's God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Serenity prayer. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Definitely. Just creates such a peace of mind. Like, okay, there are things that I'm not going to be able to control in my life, and people's perception or how they view things is something that can be very difficult to change. So I love that, being able to kind of lay it all down at the Lord and just allow him to, control the way things are supposed to be, and just trust in that.
I think that's the key word that you just said is
Yeah.
like that we can't control everything.
Yeah.
There's an image I've said many times of like where you're worried about 10 steps ahead and you got to just get over that one step and not look forward to the other steps, because you're not going to see like the branch in your way that you're going to trip over, or something that you need to avoid, because you need to focus on that little hiccup, figure it out, and then patch that insecurity, go on to the next, instead of looking so far in advance of like what others are doing, what others are saying.
That is definitely something that I think adds to the insecurity in a sense, and that's something I feel like social media kind of creates a little bit, where it's like you're constantly viewing, the lives of other people through a lens that not necessarily is reality, or it is, but you can make it look a certain way, right? So it's always a dangerous road when it's like I'm comparing kind of where I'm at to what I'm seeing, versus, like you said, Andrew, kind of keeping yourself a little bit grounded. Like, where am I at in my life right now, and living in that moment and being in that moment, because that can help in so many ways.
That also patches into gratefulness, of just being grateful for what you are given once you get past that insecurity and just accept everything that is happening to you or in your life. You're grateful. Like today, this week I had a problem with my car on all days of the day that it only snowed of the whole year. My car decided not to start, and I had to be at work at 5 a.m. I didn't get there until 8, so I was late. So instead of like, woe is me, come on God, why are you doing this to me? I was like, all right, at least I have my dad's car to drive. At least I have this. At least, I'm going to pray about it and put it at peace. And I was really, honestly, I was like really at peace. And I've said this before we started, like, this is my therapy, just talking to you guys and doing this, and really just putting forth God's mission for us and discovering it together and just like figuring it out and growing together. It's great. And that really, with all my things and bumps along the road this week, I really feel like I grew more faithfully than throwing myself down and getting upset.
No, that's great, Andrew. That's really great. So it's nice when we kind of have those experiences, and then, and that's all. It's a weird thing to say, but there is like a blessing behind like difficulty, in that sense of like, when life gets tough, it's like the graces tend to flow if we're willing to receive them, and if we will embrace it, and then as a result, we'll grow and we'll become better people and stronger and more faithful as children of God and those who are following Him. But one thing I wanted to say too that I loved is that's so true about the gratefulness, Andrew. I think oftentimes with insecurities, like this can really be a vice for people. It's one of those things that we kind of are tempted towards and can really fall into, especially with social media. I mean, comparison is like everywhere with social media, and especially it was years ago when we first were using it. And so we have this vice of insecurity, and then gratefulness is kind of like the virtue that can like help get rid of that vice. So every time we kind of experience those insecurities of like, oh, like I can't believe this thing that this person said to me, or this person has, or this person's so much better. Like why can I be this way or act this way? But remembering, like, bringing it back and being thankful for who you are, for what you have, what you've been given, is a way that we can really like destroy that vice of insecurity, and then grow in that virtue of gratefulness, and then we're geared more towards that virtue the more that we practice it and the more that we lean into it, as opposed to falling into the vice. So yeah, that's great, man.
Perfect. I don't know why I keep getting all these images flooded into my head. Well, as Josh was talking, I was thinking of, I don't know why, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and like how, his heart is so tiny. And then I think as he allows gratefulness, and it grows and grows and grows.
Yeah.
I don't know why that popped into my head, but
It is a good image, right? And that's
great,
it.
man. Yeah.
And that's surrounding yourself with the right people, right? That the Grinch, right? The Whoville, they gave him the ability to be grateful, right, for what he had and the love that he has. And I think that can go kind of parallels to the whole social media world. It's like, you know, yes, I have X amount of friends on social media, whatever it is, right? But it's like what you're feeling in life and what you're dealing with in life. And you want people that are going to uplift you and allow you to see what you should be grateful for. I think that can go such a long way, right? Like here we are able to talk to each other every week about our faith and what that does for us in our weeks. You know, it's so cool. I've seen it too. I actually said that to my dad the other day, like we were talking about things. And I just feel that this creates that sort of mindset week in and week out of like, okay, one, I'm preparing, trying to think about, you know, how I want to better my faith. So when we're talking to each other, like, you know, bring in some good points, whatever it is. But like these different conversations are just great reminders of like, hey, like, you know, every week's going to be a little messy. There's always something that we're going to face, whether it's insecurities or anxieties or different things that we've encountered throughout our week. But there's always something there for us from our faith. And God is reaching out to us, right? Each and every one of us. And when it comes to being insecure about things, I think that's probably such a common, you know, struggle for people through life. I think about like high school and how I felt about things, right? Like you're kind of becoming who you are and not too sure about who you're going to be and different things like that. But if you can lean into your faith and allow God to show you, hey, you should be pretty proud of who you are and create a little bit of confidence and gratefulness about who you are, it can go such a long way. That serenity prayer is really, I never really kind of connected that to different types of insecurities, but that can help as well, right? Just, hey, allow it to just lay it down a bit, you know? It's not all about having control, just trust the process.
One insecurity that I think that we should touch on too is also our faith. I feel like a lot of that comes with how Catholics and Christians are perceived in the world, and a lot of people are insecure about like saying that they believe, that they're believers. And that's one thing I've come a long way with, where I'm having these conversations with these people at work. Someone's talking to me about baptizing their child this week and the importance of it and should they do it. And I'm telling them, from my opinion, to them what they should do. And you don't feel worthy telling them. And then I had someone call me a preacher, which was weird. I have a lot of people, shout out RSM, a lot of people follow from work, and then they do talk to me about what's going on, what we're talking about. And then I have that one person who watches, you know who you are, who just like, he is Muslim, good guy, but he always wants to have a debate with me. And today he wanted to debate Mary and what Mary. So I guess this could be tied into the insecurity with Mary and what she had to go through having the baby, because having Jesus, a lot of people knowing like, okay, that can't be Joseph's baby, and like dealing with everyone talking about her.
How Joseph felt too.
How Joseph felt. So that's an insecurity I feel like we don't talk about enough, and it's not in the Bible as much. You know, pretty much it jumps from him being a baby, being born, and the wise men being there, to him being lost.
Right.
Pretty much.
You think about kind of what they dealt with and experienced through all of those ups and downs, and how it was a serenity prayer, you know? Hey, Lord, grant me the wisdom to know, or the peace to grant me the serenity to understand that
The things I can't change, and
and to allow God to just work and just give that up. And it's funny to hear you say all that, Andrew, too, because you're right. Like there is different parallels to things in our lives and the Bible, and things that we can seek out and find different like answers for, in a sense, you know, like everything that we deal with like week to week, like there's something within the scriptures, something within our faith that can allow us to like work through it in different ways. And spot on. When it comes to faith, it can be so challenging to feel confident to speak up about it in a way, in like normal interactions, right? Like because you're worried about what people might say back to you, right? Or how it might be perceived in a certain way. But that's something that can be really helpful for us, is to just know that, you know, there's an ability to be proud of who you are as a Catholic, or as what your faith is, and like the way you carry yourself.
Think of the
is
courage
confidence too.
Jesus had at 8 years old when he's telling all the rabbis they're wrong. You know, and up there preaching. Just try to have a little bit of that faith that he had.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things that just comes with time. It comes with, you know, with practice, and like Ryan, what you're saying, with the confidence, like being well established in your belief, and you know, can really help and aid with that ability to kind of share it with people. You know, I'm finding that again, especially now with this brand new job that I got. It's like it's starting to come up again, you know, where it's like people ask me like, oh, what did you used to do? Or like, what do you do? You know, if we like start talking about music, or if like religion has come up a few times. And so I had to say that, you know, And I knew what the response was going to be, and I knew how it was going to end, but still being able to say like, oh, I'm Catholic, you know, when years ago it was much harder to do, you know, especially when I was first converting in the real world, when people were really combative about it. But yeah, it just takes just practice, doing it over and over again, and establishing that confidence, and yeah, it gets easier.
What bothers me, I was thinking about this too, is like there's people out there who believe in like rainwater and rocks that can heal their spirit, but they think like what we believe in is so like farce and fake. And like, how can you like outside looking at it, it's like, really?
I think
pray into a rock.
I think Josh nails it sometimes when you talk about that, the idea of like, because there's such a response, it's like, that's how I know it's true, right?
Yeah.
Because people, like, the response creates a challenge, like, you know, being in your faith, like, requires you to live differently, right? And it takes time to fully embrace that, right? Like, I'm thankful for the fact that I feel like I've embraced my faith, right? And it doesn't always come so easily. It takes time to embrace it and to really allow it to work, because I'm seeing it now, like my Lent, I realize that like I'm really being challenged this Lent, right? Because I do feel like I've been on a right path, like accepting, you know, what it is that God is asking of me, right? As like a father and a husband, and understanding that it requires a lot of sacrifice. But the deeper I go, right, listening to our faith, and the more we talk to each other, and the more that I'm trying to learn more about my faith, the more I see God even pushing me further. And like how sometimes that becomes a challenge to me. Like, you know, there is like this faith requires you to kind of live in a way that is not necessarily how the world lives at all, you know, and that's hard, and it can create some insecurities, you know. And the best part about it is that we have a God, a Savior who loves us. Like that, to me, is one of the best ways to counter insecurities, right? Like to know that you are loved, and that surpasses and trumps everything, right? Like let that carry you.
If you're feeling bad about your insecurities too, even think Jesus had insecurities. He had second thoughts about going through everything with the whole prayer on the mountain.
Yeah.
So there's so many insecurities that everyone in the Bible dealt with. Peter dealt with.
Moses,
you
know, not wanting to speak to Pharaoh, right? Yeah, you're right.
So there's so many insecurities in the Bible.
And in every situation, there was God reaching out saying, I have you. I'm here. Like, I love you. Let's do this together. So when you feel
those, you should just buckle down and pray and just really put forth your faith.
And I feel like with Christ, it was more like it wasn't a lack of faith, you know what I mean? And that's where that's like he shows how we're supposed to utilize that insecurity. When he's praying there saying, you know, Lord, take this cup away from me, he was saying like, if it's your will, Father. He was still, you know, remaining faithful in the midst of that. You know, a lot of those prophets were like, I don't want this.
Jonah.
I don't want this, man. I don't want this. And so that's the reality of it. Like, Lord, I want to accomplish your will in all things. If you're asking so much of me, I pray that it not be so. But if it is, let it be okay. You know, let it be okay. And let me grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, and that's grace. That's grace that floods in, and it can help you grow in those virtues to help you overcome.
Definitely. Yeah, Jesus is always showing us the right way to handle it all,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
To understand that, yeah, it's God's will, right? And the serenity prayer can help you kind of feel God's will too a little bit more as well. Yeah, that's cool. It's funny when I thought of like hearing the word insecurity, it was like, I don't know if I necessarily feel insecure. Like I'm pretty confident about who I am, but like the more we talk about different things, I realize like there are little moments in time where, it's just that little doubt that's kind of in the back of your head about certain things. And it's being, again, I just think about the love that you can feel in yourself of, hey, God loves you. Like there is such power to that to help build your life a little bit, It's interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, I can, in my own experiences, I can really say like that insecurity of faith, it really was tough at times. Because, when I was working as a youth minister, like that was such a difficult discussion to have, because everyone who you ever meet asks you, what do you do? And so for me to have to say, well, I'm a Catholic youth minister, immediately it shuts down the discussion, makes, it's awkward and uncomfortable. And so because of that, it's like, it just taught me to like, maybe omit some things. Just say you're a teacher, or maybe say, as opposed to like ruining this possible relationship or making this awkward scenario. Maybe you kind of, you skirt around the question a little bit. And I found that like, it wasn't being true to who I was, or to, what I am, or to even possibly even, open up that discussion like right there immediately. And so it took a while, but eventually I started saying, well, I'm a Catholic youth minister. And then I was finding that like that fruit was starting to show itself. Like people would be like, oh, oh, so you're Catholic? Like, let's talk about that a little bit. And I saw like there's beauty in that. But yeah, that fear of that judgment when you say that and you admit, yeah, I'm a faithful person, or I'm a Catholic, like that's a real thing. But like what you're saying, just understanding Christ's love and grace and all that goodness, it can really take all of that and use it for what it's supposed to be.
I can even say with doing this, I feel like I've not lost friends, but I'm not close with people I used to be really close with, just because they keep you at an arm's length. And honestly, is what it is. I don't care. I'd rather do this, rather talk and spread our faith.
Yeah,
and deal with that. And hopefully then one day, like, you can bring someone to the light.
Definitely. Exactly. Right. And that's the cool part too. And yeah, do you feel like there's a bit of a, cause I think I can relate to it too. It's like, talking about faith or even like this, right? Talking about like, oh, I got a podcast, right? Like we talk about our faith. Like it almost like kind of creates a different perception about who you are in a sense. And it's like kind of like you have to be held to like this different standard, and it's never the case, right? Like I think maybe that's something that can be like an instant reaction to like, oh, you're a youth minister. It's like, oh, you got to figure it out and I don't, type of thing. And it's like, no, this, like, and that's what I love about what we do each week. It's like, no, like we're just trying to figure it out. Like, and we just want to talk about how we're trying to figure it out.
But and I think there's a beauty behind that though, because kind of like what I say sometimes is it causes this conviction because of the truth behind it. I think about an experience just yesterday where that conversation came up, and I was talking to somebody and it was like, oh, like, what, are you religious? And I said, yes, I'm a Catholic. And this guy said, well, no, I'm not really, my dad was a Muslim, my mom was a Catholic. We're not really practicing, I'm not really good at this, so maybe I'm just going to hell. And I had the thought of like, no, man, like, you do what you can, whatever, like we can talk about it if you want, blah, blah. But I had that moment afterwards that was like, wow, like the fact that he like felt that conviction and the desire to say like, well, I'm probably going to go to hell because of my decisions. It's like, obviously I don't want to condemn him. Like not at all in any capacity. It's not my role. But that just, for me, was like, oh, like that was a glimpse of grace, or maybe he's looking inward and now wants to make some changes in his life because he's confronted with someone who, is wanting to get to heaven, And so maybe it's encouraging to him to look inwards and make some changes. And like,
Yeah, no, and I like how you kind of summed it up, like someone who wants to get to heaven. It's like, yeah, like that. Hey, like we realize like there is a goal in mind, right? So every day, like I wake up and I just say, okay, how can I, be better at how I'm living in my life? Like, how can I positively impact people in a different way, just from the way like I live? And that's what I think is the best part about like our faith and that piece of it. It's like, you can embrace it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden, like, you are here, like, up at this level. It's just embrace it together and allow everyone to, like, kind of uplift and work through it with you.
Yeah, well, it's like what we're doing right now. Like, that's the whole idea behind this mustard seed, is to let people understand that, like, we don't have it all figured out. We're not perfect. We're not, like, the Catholics to model yourself after. But, like, this is important. We want people to realize that it's important and to start normalizing that discussion of saying, like, hey, let's talk about faith, man. Like, let's get this. Yeah.
Because look at how much we can talk about, like, our day-to-day lives, like, through all of this, right? Meanwhile, like, the topic is always something faith-based, like, conversations through that way. But it's about living. It really is,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
And the podcast came such a long way from just, like, talking for 8 minutes and then, you knowing Josh and then me becoming friends with Josh, friends with Josh, and it just feels good each week. Like I said, cool. It's a therapy.
No,
it is our Catholic therapy. And we are the #1 Catholic podcast on Long Island.
There we go. Yeah.
No debate.
Love it. How about that?
We got to find the other Catholic podcast on Long Island. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Make some... That's pretty good, but
it's beyond the field. It's us again.
It's us again. Man. And we haven't posted an episode of Beyond the Field
in a year.
in a long time. That's good.
But randomly, I saw this because like my laptop is connected to our mustard seed, so I'll see the comments. That's how I see the comments if I log onto my laptop. And someone like a couple weeks ago was like, "Oh, this is good. You guys should." I think of the Eli Manning episode. You guys should do more. I was like,
that's so funny.
Nice.
We wish, man. I mean, how much do we talk about like doing more things? It's just like time is such a tough challenge with all of this. So it's great that we continue to, make the effort to have this rolling out. And one day, right? One day we'll get to that point where we can really create something out of it all.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
We're living lives to create more content for these episodes, right? That's it. We're working other jobs to make this.
Exactly.
It's great though, because people are reaching out. People are actually like, how long have we done it and we had no comments? And now we're getting a lot of positive feedback, and it's great.
It's wonderful.
Makes you get all the feels. It just is good. It's good, nice to see that we're actually reaching people and they're appreciative. Like we are appreciative of you guys watching and listening to us, and hopefully you get something out of us talking.
Definitely. And that's it. Like we just want to create conversation, right? Because that's what was something that we felt like there was that void there of like, where's that in between, right? Because we see so many great just leaders of our faith share some awesome content out in the world today. Like we have so much available to us within our faith, and that's so great. But I also feel like there's a little bit of a void of those in betweens, like us as just regular guys, husbands and fathers, trying to manage and navigate this crazy thing we call life, work, family, all of that. And then how our faith just ties into it all. So, and we've realized how important it is to bring our faith into everything that we do. So it's fun to talk about it, and it really has helped me make more effort throughout my week to just get better at it and to try to get better at it. It's all about striving too, to do all this. So
yeah,
great stuff.
What's crazy too, and if you want some of our merch that sometimes you see us wearing, you can reach out to me on the Facebook, and I will work it out with you, and we'll figure it out. We had some people buy some stuff and post to the Facebook group, which is really cool itself. Just people are wearing our stuff and going out there talking about it.
Definitely.
Like not just in New York. Like I sent it to Florida. Whoa. I've sent it to Ohio, and it's cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Shout out Rashid and shout out Sarah, I believe her name is.
Nice. Oh, also, by the way, I was trying to say this before, but I didn't want to. Mary had a little lamb. So my mom looked it up.
Was that it?
It's real.
Oh, wow.
Mary Had a Little Lamb was based upon Jesus and the lamb
Nice.
and the connection.
Shout out Anthony's.
Yeah. So
Did she like my joke?
yeah, she was like, that's actually a real thing. I was like, oh wow, that's so funny. Yeah. After you did it, we're just like, all right, yeah, really funny.
See?
There you go.
That's great.
Cool.
All right.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Keep watching, keep listening. We are also on Spotify if you want to just listen. We are on YouTube, the main channel. Pretty much, that's our main channel, pretty much. Yeah, keep comment, subscribing. Stay rooted in Christ. We appreciate you guys.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Watching. Peace.
Peace.